Hey everyone, it is Stephanie here with Infernal TV, and I'm here with Jacob of Defeated Sanity. So, how are you?
How's it going? Hi, Stephanie. Hello, everyone out there. Good to be here.
Awesome. So now let's talk about your upcoming US tour. You're going to be headlining. You're going to come out, I think, in a week or so. It's coming up fast. So, what are your thoughts and feelings about this tour?
Yeah, it's creeping up as always. It always seems far away until all of a sudden it's around the corner. I'm really deep in prepping everything right now for this tour, last minute, errands and organizational duties. So that's consuming me right now. We also just got back from Europe to play a couple of festivals over there. Now, of course, as a headliner tour, so the set is a little bit longer, so we have to prepare some extra music. It's a Chronicles of Lunacy tour, so that album will be in focus, of course. But because it's a headliner set, obviously we're adding some old songs in as well. And yeah, feeling good about it. We have about not even 2 weeks before we go. The guys will arrive here a few days earlier and get cracking in the practice room. And yeah, can't wait.
Awesome. Now, you did go over some of the songs and everything that you'll be playing, but can fans expect anything new, like maybe some, songs that you haven't played in a while, or maybe something from like the real older, earlier albums?
Yeah, nothing new. So that I can probably give away. It's still the first headliner tour with Chronicles of Lunacy. So we're gonna treat that still as the new album, even though we've played one US tour, but it was in support for Sanguisugabogg and the Spice Icon. So we had like 35 minutes, and this time we just want to present the Chronicles of Lunacy as, as properly as a headliner tour. So that's still gonna be the new stuff, so to say. Um, yeah, there will be a couple of songs that we have not played in a while. Particularly, I believe. There's definitely one song that we've never played with our new guitarist, Vaughn. Well, he's been with us for 3 years. He's still gonna be the new guy for a while, I guess. So there's one song that he had to learn from scratch. And then there's a couple other songs that we've played on these a couple shows in Europe last month, but we haven't played in the US in a few years. So there's also that. I don't want to say which ones yet, but yeah, there will be some songs that we brought back for sure.
Awesome. So, and also, you were talking, or you were saying that that this tour is going to be focusing on Chronicles of Lunacy. Will you be performing that album in its entirety, or just,
Okay, yes, so that one I think I can give away. We originally had planned to play the entire album, not necessarily in order, but just every song. Um, but then made a decision because there's one song on it, and that is a Patriarchy Perverse. That song we've played as an advance before the album came out on two US tours already. So we played that one in 2023 on the tour with Malignancy, and was sta actually definitely on a tour with Stabbing. I'm not so sure if we played on a tour with Malignancy, but we also played it Maryland Death Fest in 2024. So that song feels older than the rest of the songs. We've already played it quite a bit. So we actually decided to take that one out of the set and make room for some other songs. But apart from that, it will be the full new album and more.
awesome. Do you think in the future you would play Chronicles of Lunacy in its entirety or another one of your
Um,
albums?
well, we've done it in Europe. We played everything from it, and yeah, we've played most of it. I think so. It's 8 songs. We played, I believe, 6 out of those on that tour with Sanguisugabogg last fall. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is gonna be the final tour that is dedicated to this album. So this is going to be the last one that we're really focusing on Chronicles, and after that, we'll probably back off a little bit and go into more of a diverse set list again. Um, until, it will probably come back, maybe there'll be like a 10, 20-year reunion tour down the road where we play the full album again. But I think for the time being, this is going to be the last tour that will focus heavily on Chronicles.
All right, awesome. Well, let's go back to your upcoming tour. You'll be In Theory and Organectomy will be joining you. I'm wearing my In Theory shirt. I don't know if anybody can really tell, but yeah, In Theory and Organectomy will be joining you, and then you'll have some extra bands on select dates. So, specifically for In Theory and Organectomy, why did you choose those bands to join you?
Okay, so we always, when we headline, we like to make a pre-selection of bands, and we really want to use that opportunity to select a lineup that we are stoked about, that we can agree with, that we look forward to playing with, not just musically, but also obviously, the people. Um, the many factors go into that. The problem is always that we end up with, so we have our list of bands, and then you gotta figure out who can do it, who's available, who can take the offer. And so it's always a scramble. It's always a scramble. And in the end, our main thing was that we wanted it to be a death metal tour, um, leaning towards bringing out underground bands even. That's why we made it a point that the opening acts are all like that's gonna be Excrescence, Scasm, Horrific Visions, all like underground new up and coming bands. So we wanted the opening slot to be bands that come from the brutal death metal, grassroots sort of. And then Organectomy, I feel like they have not gotten a fair shot in the US, at least not in a while. I think they had their tour canceled a couple of years ago. They were supposed to tour with Vulvodynia. So funny, we actually asked both of them to come out and join this tour as to make the brutal death metal package complete. And they both uh agreed. They both accepted the offer, and it was all looking great. But then we had there were some issues with Volvo Dinya, and our booker eventually had to replace them with Inferi, which is great because honestly, Inferi brings some diversity onto the tour. So I know some of the guys. I know they're cool cats to be around. So that's another thing. Looking forward to. That I think it's going to be a good hang time, and also they have more of the technical elements, which I feel is going to benefit the tour because Organectomy is more on the slam side, and Inferi is more on the tech side, and then we're like sort of in between. So I think it's just a nice rounded package. But it's always tricky to put a tour together with all these factors in mind. You don't want to be too one-sided. You want it to be adjacent enough to what you do yourself, but not exactly the same. And then who's available? That's ultimately also a problem every time.
Right, interesting. And now, you did mention that you played some Europe festivals recently. So how did those go?
Fairly well, considering th those were one-offs. One-offs are always a little tricky. There's just logistic challenges. You don't get to play all your gear. You usually have minimal practice beforehand. So we got into this. We flew into Switzerland and had like one really, really quick practice session and went on stage playing some songs that we hadn't played in years as well. So it was a bit rough, but we got through it fine. Then we spent a week in the rehearsal room in Berlin, actually working on new material, and did that for like 5 or 6 days. Didn't really even play the set until like the night before that second weekend festival that was in Germany, Heidelberg Death Fest. But even just playing together, even if it's not the same material, even just playing together for 5 days in the room, it's just night and day. Like we went on stage with a whole nother level of confidence and tightness. And I think Heidelberg went really, really well. It's a really
Awesome.
good experience overall.
Yeah, I watched some of the performance videos on your Instagram, and yeah, that show looked awesome. So, now one thing because you did mention I never pronounce this. One day I'll learn how to pronounce this band's name. Sanguisugabog,
Angry Sugabog. Yeah.
Sanguisugabog. One, okay, might be getting the hang
That's one way to
of
pronounce it
it.
anyway. I'm not sure
Yes,
the
well,
deep
I
way.
was at that tour, and
Oh, nice.
or that show, and I'm not saying this because like you're here, whatever, but in all honesty, Defeated Sanity was the best band on that tour. Like,
Oh,
or
yeah.
at least at that show, you guys were the best. Like, specifically went to that show to see you guys.
Oh,
I was
wow.
away, so I'm very much looking forward to your upcoming show. But the one thing that I found interesting about your performance is, you have very technical music. But you gave one hell of a show. Like everyone in the band, they were so energetic. So, how do you balance like, playing like, sounding tight and playing, that very intricate music while also putting on a good stage show?
Yeah, it's tricky. It's getting more difficult as we get older, I feel like. We don't have like, we don't really talk about any of this. We don't want it to be like a choreography or something. Everyone's just feeling the music, playing the music the way they feel it on stage in the moment. So it's never anything that's rehearsed, but yeah, we just don't hold back, and as the conditions permit, we try to rage a little bit. It always it's like I said, yeah, it's really like as we get older, I've been doing this for like 20 years now, and it's getting harder. It takes me, let's just say it takes me more days to really get into that. Like when I start a tour, to prepare my body for like that. It takes a couple shows and then I'm like warmed up and I can just not even think about it. Like, oh, I'm gonna throw my back out or my neck's gonna hurt tomorrow or something like that. I don't have to worry about that anymore. But yeah, it does unfortunately take a few shows now on tour to really get into that. But we yeah, we feel like that's just what the music does, and we see it in the crowd, and the crowd gives it back to us, and sometimes we give it back to the crowd. If they rage, we feel more inclined to rage, and vice versa. So it's mutual.
Nice, awesome. And now you've been talking about new music throughout this whole interview. So what details can you give us?
Um, yeah, that's a tricky question because I don't want to give too much. However, there's been some detail already released. So I can definitely uh confirm that. We're working on follow-up for Dharmata, the prog death EP that we released in 2016. So to disappoint our brutal death metal followers, the next album is not gonna be a brutal one. We're gonna have another intermission playing tech prog fusion, and it's gonna be great though. You should definitely check it out. Whether you're a fan of brutal Defeated Sanity or techie proggy Defeated Sanity, definitely give it a shot. But yeah, that's what we're currently working on, and it will just be another like intermission sort of. It won't be a turn for the band like it was before. It will just be another chapter, and we're very, very excited about it because it is the next step up from the Dharmata record in 2016. It's more involved even, I think, especially because we have Vaughn on board now, and Vaughn is a certified jazz guitarist, so that helps a lot, bringing that kind of edge into the music. And yeah, just really excited to present it when it's ready. And we're cooking right now. It's probably gonna be recording time a year from now, or maybe less. And yeah, so we're looking at a 2027, a late 27 release, perhaps.
Nice. I'm really looking forward to
Yeah.
this new album. I'm already excited for it. But I guess when you approach, or how should I word this? I'm just thinking of this question off the top of my head. So when you What is the differences for you personally when you approach writing your more like brutal death metal music versus the more like techie proggy stuff? Like, how do you challenge yourself?
Um, it's a completely different thing. So when I get presented, so Lila is the one who writes most of the foundation of the music, and then I need to figure out what I do on the bass, right? And it's first of all, I'm using a different instrument and a different tuning. We're playing in standard tuning, and to anyone who plays guitar or bass, that's it just the instrument responds very differently when it's in standard tuning. You have lighter gauge strings, it's snappier, the response is quicker, and it just enables you to do different things, or maybe disables you to do certain things, but it's just kind of fosters a different kind of playing. And also, of course, the tone is very different. So working with a different tone also affects how you play. In general, it's even less than with brutal death metal. So with brutal death metal, the bass is following the guitar conventionally most of the time, but even with Defeated Sanity, 70%, 75% of the time, just guessing, right? But um like even with Defeated Sanity, just because it's brutal death metal, I have to beef up the riff first and foremost, and then I venture off and do some things, but the riff needs to be supported. Now with the Dharmata stuff, there is a lot more freedom where the bass can be a third voice or just go with the drums and just play the rhythm while the guitar is doing something different, of course. So there's very many different approaches. We will have solos again. Yeah, so there's no solos on Chronicles of Lunacy. It's the first album in a while, actually. You know what? No, Sanguinary had one solo. But yeah, every Defeated album had like one or two solos, and this one, Chronicles had none. So now we're going back into having guitar solos and even bass solos. So yeah, it's just very different. It's a completely different it's like a different band, honestly. It feels fresh, and that's why we like it.
Nice. I'm very much looking forward to that new album. But let's go back to Chronicles of Lunacy very briefly because it was one of your more most successful albums. So I know that you said that with this next album, you're going in a different direction. It'll be like the part two to Dharmata, but you're not going to stay in that direction forever. So do you think that you will write another brutal death metal album, or do you
Oh
think
yeah.
you'll go completely different?
I think as far as I can predict it, it's pretty safe to say we're gonna stay a brutal death metal band. And we might even go harder after going into the fusion jazzy bits and might come back playing like even more brutal just because we want to balance it out again. Kind of what happened on the Disposal of the Dead Dharmata split EP, where like one side is really, really ignorant, brutal death metal, and the other side is more advanced technical prog stuff. So it could be like that, just with the difference that this time it's not like a split EP, but it's like a full album followed by the next full album being brutal death metal. So I'm pretty sure we haven't started writing that yet, but I feel like we're gonna have a craving for it. So we're gonna definitely do that just to set things straight again.
Awesome. And now this is the last question. You can say anything that you want. You can promote the tour, say, mention anything about new music we didn't get to yet. Just thank the fans. It's all on you.
Yeah, well, thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak on your show. And definitely all come out to the tour if we come anywhere near your area where you live. Don't miss it. As I said, it's gonna be the last Chronicles tour. If you're a fan of the album, you don't want to miss out on this. Also, the other band's gonna be a delight. It's gonna be great. And we might be back for another US tour later this year. I can't reveal more details, but that's not going to be a headliner tour, and it's going to be different, more diverse set. But for this tour, if you want to see Chronicles, this is your chance, and you got to come out.
And I do apologize. I just thought of one more question. Will
Go
you
ahead.
be performing Chronicles of Lunacy and like doing more Europe shows or?
I don't believe so because we had two full European tours last year, and I think that pretty much wraps that up. We haven't really planned any more European shows, fests, tours for any for the rest of this year. We're gonna focus on the US now.
Awesome. Well, now I promise that was the last question, but thank you everybody for checking out this interview. If you are in the US, then Defeated Sanity has literally right around the corner in a headlining tour. So be sure to check those dates if the tour will be coming to your area. And clearly, Defeated Sanity has, a lot of awesome stuff also in the pipeline. So more touring and a new album, and a new album I'm personally very excited for it. So um and thank you for watching everybody. Stay metal.
Stay metal.